Okay. So last class we read about what? We read about Gaussian Naive Bayes classifier, right? Mm, And I gave you a hint about likelihood that uh, class. Okay. Uh, Just a minute. Share screen. Okay. Okay. So I told you about likelihood in the last class. And I also gave you a hint on that this is important from the point of view of loss function, uh, like deep neural networks, right? So likelihood was used by the Gaussian naive Bayes classifier to get the likelihoods from the y-axis, depending on the value of the x-axis, and we are multiplying them with the prior to get the probability of the posterior, and accordingly we are doing the classification, right? So, so that was our classifier part over. So today, brace yourself for some good amount of mathematics. Today we'll have some uh, good amount of mathematics. This is important because I didn't want to skip this, because this will set up a very strong base for you to understand the loss function and how uh, how neural networks maximize or minimize their loss functions, right? So this is important class. Okay. So uh, so we'll talk about something called maximum likelihood. Okay. So this is what we all want, right? We all want to maximize our likelihood of a particular uh, phenomenon or event to happen, right? So if we can predict that with nice accuracy, then it's very easy for us, right? So we are almost solved the problem. So how do we maximize the likelihood? How do I maximize the likelihood? Provided I am given some measurements, right? So any machine learning problem, what are you given with? You are given with data, training data, right? So training data is nothing but a set of random variables which can be continuous or it can be discrete. Okay. So which we call them its features also. Okay. So these features are given to you, and we will try to fit a curve to these features uh, with maximum likelihood. What does this term mean? This sentence mean? What it means is suppose we are measuring apples. Okay, we are measuring apples. Okay, so this is low weight and this is high weight. Okay, so we have many apples. So as you can see, there are more apples in the middle, and there are less apples with low weight and more apples with high weight. So it's a Gaussian distribution. You can understand normal bell curve distribution. Okay, but but if I have to predict something from these measurements, this is a measurement, right? This is a feature mm, of the apples. So if I have to measure, if I have to predict something from these measurements, uh, it will be very good if I can find a fitting curve to this, right? If I can fit a curve to this, then I can use that curve to find the probabilities of things happening at certain point, right? So like if I say what is the probability of having an apple of weight, say 50 kgs, 50 grams, sorry, 50 kgs, 50 grams, okay? So 50-gram apple means a really big apple, right? So what is the probability of that kind of apple I'll get? I don't have an answer here, right? I can do a frequentist approach, that is, I'll divide the number of 50-gram apples by the total number of apples and get a value. Either I can do that, or I can convert this into a distribution which fits to these measurements, and then from that distribution I calculate the probability or likelihood. Okay, so if you remember in the last class I said in probability the uh, in probability the measurements sorry this is distribution, and this is measurement. In probability, the distribution remains constant and the probability of a measurement changes. Like I have a distribution uh, and I want to know that what is the probability for a particular measurement. So M can be M1, M2, M3 like this, right? But distribution does not change. I have a constant distribution. I have a constant distribution, and I want to know the probability when M is M1, when M is M2, when M is M3 like this. This is probability. What is likelihood? Likelihood is just the opposite of that. In likelihood, the measurement is constant, right? So we have a training data. A measurement is a training data. A measurement is a constant, but I want to have a distribution which fits this measurement in a best possible way, right? So for example, this is one distribution, this is one more distribution, and say this is one more distribution. So Tanmay, what is your gut feeling? Which distribution fits this measurement the best?
Second one.
The blue one, right?
Yeah.
Because here there are more number of apples, and here also our curve is in a higher position. Here there are less, so we are less. Here it is also less, we are less. So the blue is a distribution which is fitting this measurement in the best possible way. The red one is not, and the green one is not, right? So this one is pretty easy thing. So from naked eyes, we could say this thing, but uh, every time it is not so easy, right? Every time it is not so easy that we will be able to find out how is the distribution. Okay, so and what is the benefit? Once I find the distribution, I can forget about these measurements forever. I don't need to remember these measurements. Now what I have x-axis, y-axis, distribution is there. 50-gram apple. Okay, so the probability is 0.2, 0.02, means 2%. Okay, so I don't need the measurements anymore. I have my distribution curve now. Since I have the distribution curve, I can get any likelihood directly from the graph. Okay, so that is my benefit. So that is the reason that measurements, in case of likelihood, the measurements remains constant. The distribution change. You see here we had three distributions: D1, D2, D3. Right? D1, D2, and D3. Like here M1, M2, M3. We have D1, D2, D3. Here we are finding the probability of M1 given D. Here we are trying to find the fit of D1 given M. So we will find the best fit of M from D1, D2, D3. Okay, and we found that D2 is the best fit. This is our task. So how do we do this? How do we do this? So we will focus for today's class. There are many types of graphs, if you know, or distributions. Just a minute. There are many types of graphs or distributions, like normal distribution, exponential distribution, then logarithmic distribution, uniform distribution, binomial distribution, Poisson distribution. There are many types of distributions. Okay. In normal also there are many types: skinny, medium, bone, hard, flat bone. So there are many types of distributions available. So we will in today's class we will talk about only normal distributions. Okay, we will only focus on normal distributions, not any other distributions. Okay, so tomorrow's class we will go for other distributions. Okay, so we will see how can I fit a normal distribution into a given measurement, set of measurements, right? That is my goal. How can I fit a normal distribution into a given set of measurements? Okay, so for a normal distributions, what are the two parameters that we need to know? Who can say? For a normal distributions, what are the two parameters that we need to know?
Weight and
it's mean and standard deviation.
mean and
right. So we'll know where the mean of the curve is and what is the standard deviation. So you can draw the normal distribution easily then. Okay. So the probability function for a normal distribution is given like this. For any value of x given this distribution, means mu and standard deviation, this is equal to 1 by root over of 2 pi sigma square into e to the power minus x minus mu whole square by 2 sigma square. Okay, so this is the formula for the probability function or probability mass function or probability distribution function of a normal distribution. Okay, so with various values of x from minus infinity to plus infinity, if you plot this function, then you will get a graph like this. Okay, normal distribution graph you get. Okay, this is the function of a normal distribution graph. Okay, so what we are going to find, we are not going to find the probability of x is equal to x1, x2, x3, right? We're going to fit a normal graph into a measurement. Okay, so we are given a measurement and we are going to fit a normal distribution according to the measurement, so that we don't need to use the measurements anymore to kind of find the likelihood. We can directly use the distribution. Okay, so as you know, when mu is smaller, it is going to the left side. When mu is larger, it goes to the right side. When sigma is smaller, it is more sharp like this. And when sigma is greater, then the distribution is like this, right? So two features are there for one normal distribution, that is the mean and the standard deviation. The mean will tell where the normal distribution is, location of it, the center position, and the sigma will tell how much spread it is on both sides, left and right sides, right? These two are enough for us to understand the meaning of a normal distribution. Okay. So we are going to find what? We are going to find this L. We are going to find the mu and sigma given a distribution. Okay. The opposite of this. The opposite of this. Just like I said, last class I explained the difference between probability and likelihood. Same way. So I want to find the mu and sigma given a distribution x, or in a measurement x, set of measurements x. Okay. So let's start with first example. Let's start that we have x as only one value is there. Okay. It's a measurement, which means it can have multiple values. But let's start with a situation where we have only one measurement. Okay, only one measurement. So let's say x is equal to x1, and it is equal to 32 grams. Apple is 32 grams. Okay, so this is given to us. This is given to us. Okay, what do we need to find? Mu and sigma. I need to find mu and sigma. Let me arbitrarily take mu is equal to say 28, and sigma is equal to 2. So I have what now? I have 28 to 32. Right? The likelihood of, I am trying to find the likelihood of the measurement 32 with a mean of 28 and a standard deviation of 2. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll plug in these numbers in this formula, right? So sigma will go here. X, we have only one x value, so it will go here. And 28 will go here. Okay. When I solve this, I'll get a value 0.03. That means the likelihood of getting an apple of 32 grams, very nicely hear this statement. The likelihood of getting an apple of 32 grams in a distribution where the mean is 28 and the standard deviation is 2 is 0.03. Now, can we do something to improve this value? It's like 3%.
Here, the probability is given that this formula would be already known, or is it somewhere?
Yeah, so as I said, this is normal distribution, so you know this formula. When there will be exponential distribution, you have a formula. So you will, for every type of distribution, there is a formula. Okay, Poisson distribution, polynomial distribution, binomial distribution. So we'll read about all the types of distributions. Okay, but we'll start with normal distribution. So this is the formula for normal distribution. Okay, so now question is, I selected 28 and 2 arbitrarily, and I got 3% likelihood that my apple will be 32 grams. Okay, my distribution contains only one number, 32, right? So can I improve this value? Can I maximize this value? What is my purpose? My purpose is to maximize the likelihood, right? That is my purpose. If I maximize the likelihood, then what will happen? My distribution will fit the measurement very nicely, right? So let me change it. I change this one to 30, keeping the standard deviation constant, and this is same 32. I have only one measurement. If I solve this, I get 0.12. Okay, so that means from 3%, I got an improvement of 12%. So if I see it in graph, how it is, the first graph is say like this. Okay, where this was 28 and this was 32. So this was 0.03, and the second graph, I moved the graph little bit. So now in this new graph, this one is in 30. So 32's now probability has increased from 3 to 0.12. Okay, so that means this one is fitting this distribution or measurement better than this. So the blue one is fitting the measurement 32 better than the red one. If I move it more, if I make this 32, okay, then it will be more better. If I make it 34, then it will start again decreasing. So that means what? For various kinds of distributions, there will be various kinds of likelihood values. Okay, so that means what? If I So that means what? That means if I have the likelihood function plotted like this is likelihood. This is the likelihood of observing a data. And this is in here, I have multiple distributions. One distribution is another distribution, this is another distribution, this is another distribution, this is another distribution. And I had one data, say 32. My distribution contained only one data, 32. Then what will happen? If I go with this distribution, then 32 will be having very low value, right? So it will be a very low value here. This one 32 will get little higher value. So here, this one 32 will get very high value. Okay, so here, and again same in here 32 will decrease, and here 32 will decrease. So here and here. So that means my likelihood is also a curve like this. Okay. See, measurement remaining constant, distribution is changing. Accordingly, the likelihood is plotted. Very important here, understand. L is the likelihood function where x equals to x1 equals to 32 is the measurement which is constant. I am changing mu and sigma constantly. Here sigma is constant. I am changing only mu from here to here to here to here and here. I'm changing mu in this direction. When I'm changing this mu, every new mu is giving me a new likelihood value. Okay, every new mu is giving me a new likelihood value, and I can plot that likelihood also. How will I know that I have the maximum likelihood? When this likelihood plot function will have a slope of 0, right? When this likelihood function, likelihood plot, due to multiple distributions embedded over the measurement, I get a likelihood plot. In that likelihood plot, whichever x I get a slope of 0 is the maximum likelihood for that distribution, for that measurement, right? Similarly, this was the case where I kept standard deviation as constant and I changed mu. Then there can be also a case where I keep the mu constant. Suppose I figured out that this is 32, right? So I figured out that, okay, this is the point where my mu is highest, maximum likelihood for mu is highest. Okay. Now question is whether the distribution will be like this, or the distribution will be like this, or the distribution will be like this, or it will be like this. How? All of these graphs have the same mu, 32, right? All of the graphs have the same mu, 32, but they have different standard deviations. So for each graph, you again plot the standard deviations. For this graph, say this one. For this graph, say this one, and connect the points. So this is the point. Let's say this is the point where the slope is 0. So this is the point. So whichever standard deviation gave this value of likelihood will be considered as the maximum likelihood for standard deviation. Okay, so that means what? To fit a normal curve, or distribution, to fit a normal distribution on a given set of test data, I have to find two things. First, I have to find the mean. Second, I have to find the standard deviation, because these are the two properties of a normal distribution. How will I find mean and standard deviation? I will plot multiple distributions on top of the measurement and collect the values of likelihood. Plot them in a graph. Whichever point gives me the slope 0, that particular value of mu or standard deviation is the one that I will select. That is how I will get the normal Gaussian distribution which fits my measurement. Okay, So this is the theory behind maximum likelihood, but we only explained that with a single point. What will happen when there are more than one points? What will happen when there are more than one points? So the formula says that when the likelihood, find mu and sigma given x1, x2, xn. So this is what I want to find, the likelihood function or the Gaussian distribution function which fits this training data the best. Okay, this is a training data, right? There are n data points. So which Gaussian distribution with mu and sigma fits this one best? Okay, so this is nothing but this is equal to L mu comma sigma x1 plus L mu sigma x2 plus xn. Okay, so this is nothing, sorry, not plus, into multiplication. Okay, so the best fit for each individual points when multiplied together will give the best fit for the entire test data. So from each test point or each test data from the entire test set, we will find individual Gauss normal distributions for them and then multiply them together to find the final normal distribution. Okay, so now it is simple here. What is the formula of this? This formula we all know. I wrote that some time back. 1 by root over of 2 pi sigma square e to the power minus x1, because this is x1 point, minus mu whole square divided by 2 sigma square. Don't get apprehended by this, intimidated by this formula. This is general normal distribution formula. This is standard. Means just have to remember it once. That's it. Don't have to remember also. I'm just telling you to because you understand what is going behind the scene. The power minus xn minus mu square to sigma square. Okay, so this one can be written like this instead of this thing. Now question is, how do I find the maxima points? So who can say? I have to find the derivative of this dl by d mu, keeping sigma constant, and then dl by d sigma keeping mu constant, right? So this one will give me the value of mu where the slope is 0. This is equal to 0. I have to equate it like this, right? And then this one I will give equal to 0. This will give me the value of the sigma where the slope is 0, right? Theoretically, we saw it beforehand that wherever the slope is 0, becoming 0, that is the maxima point, right? So we have to just differentiate, integrate this big equation, and we'll get it from there. So I'll not solve it for you. The math I'll not do because it's not necessary. But always remember, because in future you will write your own loss functions and do a lot of mathematics. Whenever you have a big equation like this in multiplication format, apply logarithm on both sides. Okay, because the differentiation of a function f and the differentiation of the function log of f is this almost the same. Okay, so apply log on both sides. When you apply log on both sides, what happens? These all multiplications becomes additions, and differentiation becomes very, very easy. Okay, so if this is the function f, then this will be the function log f. So you see the maxima point does not change. So finding the maxima of this or this doesn't matter. It is the same thing. Okay, so instead of taking the differentiation of this big multiplication, you apply logarithm and convert into addition, and then individually each term you can differentiate very easily. So after this, when solving this, what we find is mu will be equal to x1 plus x2 plus dot 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 xn by n, and sigma is equal to root over of x1 minus mu square plus xn minus mu square. Okay, so when you solve those two equations, first equation is this is dl by d mu keeping sigma constant, and this is dl by d sigma keeping mu constant. Okay, equating to 0. When you solve this, you get this. When you solve this, you get this. So you see here, what is this? This is the mean. This is nothing but mean, and this is nothing but standard deviation formula. So that means if I have a distribution, like this, okay, if I have a distribution like this, then it is telling that the best Gaussian, the best normal distribution curve fitting this measurement is having its mean equal to the mean of the measurement. So this is x1, this is x2, this Similarly, this is xn, right? So add all of this divided by n. So the mean of all of this is somewhere here. So this is the location of the Gaussian distribution as per what we find out. And what is the standard deviation? How much in the left side and how much in the right side? It is the same standard deviation of the measurements. See, x1 minus mu till xn minus mu whole square by n. This is the formula of standard deviation for these measurements. So this will be the best fit Gaussian distribution for the given measurement. Now you will say, this is already we knew, right? Already we knew. It is once intuitively we knew that the location of the mean is the mean of the measurements, and the width or the spread of the data is the standard deviation of the measurements. Yes, we knew by intuition, but here we proved it by solving the equation in mathematically way and seeing that whatever intuitively we were thinking or guessing that it might be true, that is actually true. And also tomorrow we may not always try to fit a Gaussian curve. We may try to fit a say Laplacian curve or a Poisson distribution or a binomial distribution or exponential distribution or a logarithmic distribution, right? So depending on the problem statement, we have to fit a different kind of distribution to the measurement of data. Okay, so in that case, what will happen? We will so suppose the data is like this. Suppose the data is like this. Okay. Now this is not a Gaussian distribution, right? This is something like this, right? Something like this. So this is not a Gaussian distribution, right? I cannot fit a Gaussian distribution into this. I can fit it. I can forcefully fit it, but that will be not a good fit. I have to fit something else. How I will determine which graph to fit, which distribution to fit on a particular set of measurements, and how to fit that. How to fit we already saw, right? We already saw. We figure out first what are the two parameters of a distribution. For a Gaussian distribution, it was mean and standard deviation. And then we figured out that the likelihood, we have to maximize the likelihood. So how the likelihood was maximized? Wherever the slope was 0, the maximum likelihood was maximized. So we created the equations. We took logarithm because the maxima of a function and the maxima of the logarithm of the function are same. So instead of taking the differentiation of the function, we took the differentiation of the logarithm of the function and equated it to 0 and found the values of mu and sigma, and found that mu is nothing but the mean of all the measurements and sigma is nothing but the standard deviation of all the measurements. So this is what we found for a Gaussian distribution. But tomorrow, when we do it for a different distribution, this may not be so obvious. Okay, but we will have to know which distribution to apply and how to apply, where to apply, and once we have applied it, then we can forget about this training data. Then I can easily start predicting based on my distribution, right? Suppose I have given this data. From this data, somehow I figured out that the distribution is like this. Now, if you ask me some question which does not exist, Suppose this is 50 grams. Last was 50 grams. Okay. But somebody asks me, what is the probability that an apple will be 60 grams? 60 grams. Even if I don't have the data, I can still predict because I have the distribution curve, probability distribution curve. Right? So I can still guess. So that is the machine learning happening. That is the learning happening here. From the measurement, I learned the curve, and from the curve, I can now predict. Correct? So this is our, so only three things are happening here. We have a set of training data measurements. From this set of training data measurements, I am trying to fit a curve. Today we saw only one type of curve, that is Gaussian curve, but there can be many types of curve. Once I have this curve, I don't need this data anymore. Then I can predict any information by using this curve. So this becomes my model. Okay. So this is called statistical modeling. Okay. So you are statistically modeling your data. Okay. Sometimes statistical modelings work much better than deep learning models. Okay. And they work very fast because they are pure simple maths, right? So they work very fast and they are very accurate. So knowing statistical modeling is also very important. So deep learning modeling is actually the boring part. The exciting part is statistical modeling. So you learned now how many types of modeling? 3 types of modeling. Okay. You learn binomial, multinomial Bayes, naive Bayes classifier. You learn Gaussian naive Bayes classifier, and you learn about likelihood maximization modeling. Okay. So what we'll do is, now you have 3 modeling techniques in hand. So we will do a project in the next class. Okay. So after this class, by tonight, I will give you a project that you have to solve using any of the 3 modeling techniques that you have known. Okay. Don't need to code. You can just by hand, you can solve it and give it to me, because coding we will do later. First, by hand, statistically, by hand, doing the math, we'll solve it and fix and give the answer. And once we have the answers, then we will convert that into a code. Okay. So this is statistical modeling. We will read about other distributions, then our statistical modeling will be more stronger. So there is a lot of when I get this job calls, so lot of about more than 60% of the job calls for data science, they ask for statistical modeling experience. Okay. So this is I also ignored this part initially. I was very fond of deep learning, but this is required. This is now, industry is not in favor of using deep learning everywhere, because deep learning is costly, right? It requires a GPU, it requires so much calculations, it is slow. But if the same thing can be achieved by a statistical model, then why do we need deep learning? So that is, this is important. That's okay. Any doubt, guys? Anshuman, Siddharth, you guys are following, you getting the concept? You joined late today, that's true, but you are getting the concept?
Yeah, I need to go to the first half, I guess, first 15 or 20 minutes.
Yes. Please try to join on time. Otherwise, what happens is that the rest of the class, you will keep on guessing what is happening. So I hope all of you are revising the classes on the YouTube channel. So I am just updating the channel with the playlist. So I hope you all are getting the latest playlist. So consider the next class as a kind of test, assignment, or practical. So please be prepared, and I will send the question by tonight. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Biswa, sorry, disturbing.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, there are certain things say first is, can you give your notes a scan? Maintaining these notes is very difficult.
So you keep a headphone, pause and play, and write the notes. Actually, I can give my notes, but that is very bad handwriting. My handwriting is very bad. If you can read, I'll give you. I'll take pictures from my note copy and give you. That's okay.
Okay, Biswa. Second thing is this is statistical distribution. Okay, whatever you're talking about, this learning. Okay, analytical learning. Okay, is it same as the thing that we did in neural networks where the weights is there?
No. This is not the same. This is not the same. This is also a type of modeling, but see what I said. This is a model, right? You don't need this data anymore. Once you find this graph, once you have this graph, you can predict values that are not even there in this data set. That means what? You have a model. So this is not a deep learning model. This is not a neural network. This is a statistical model. This is like a formula, mathematical formula, right? So if you tell me that whether Imran will drink water in the next half an hour or not, if I can have a mathematical formula for that, then I have a model, right? So suppose I have a function x, t of log t t square. This is my formula, where t is the time. Okay. If I apply this time, whenever this is equal to 0, then Imran will drink water. So this is the model, right? This is the model, and this model I achieved by the way of statistics.
Okay, why I asked is because yesterday you told that likelihood is also related to the loss function of the neural networks. That is why.
Yeah, it is. But this model is not that. Likelihood is there. Their loss function is what we were doing. We were taking the error square, right? You remember?
Yeah.
What was the expected value and what was the value coming? We are subtracting it, doing the square, and trying to differentiate this one and make it less, right?
Yes.
Through the gradient descent. But here, what will happen is that instead of error, we will be having the likelihood square.
Okay.
Okay. What is the likelihood and how much we got square?
Okay. It is yet to come.
It is yet to come.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.